You guys not having audio for all that is actually hilarious. Hello, welcome. I've been jamming here in silence. Very excited to announce stuff today. Hype for this. That's sad. I've done this for a while now. I should be way better at this by now. The pupper's doing better. He had to get shots due to his allergies. They've been getting a lot worse, so we have to up the frequency. Poor thing. He's been itching like a dog. You thought your headset was broken. Okay, that's master troll there, actually. That's a little genius from me, in all honesty. You just got engaged! Goku, congratulations! Big claps. Big claps, Goku. Congratulations. Wow. That's awesome. I love encouraging strong family units. Woo! Absolutely, Wacky Pizza Man. Yeah. I got a ton of people's shipping stuff right here on my desk. I've been shipping out stuff for the last couple days. Very exciting stuff. Yeah, big congrats to Goku, guys, on getting engaged. That is awesome. Heck yeah. All right, everybody. It's 1:59. Getting close. What's up, KV? We're gonna be revealing the 2026 official sponsors. Def Cat MTG. And these are just the ones that are official. I've got more in the works. Absolutely, KV. You know it. I gotta greet all the homies. I gotta kiss all the homies goodnight. Gotta tuck them in. God, I love this song. Ooh. Here, snack time. Everybody, I love these things. These are so good. They're cappuccino wafers. Woo! What's up, Eternal Abyss? Is your name based on the anime? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I'll give you guys the big news in like 5 minutes. For now, let's do a itty bitty bit of story time. So, the first time I had these was actually, I decided to go to China right before I went to go see Maldhound for the first time in person for like a real visit. Like, we'd seen each other in person before at like Magicons and stuff like that, but we hadn't like just done something just to go hang out, like just the two of us. And so he brought Z with him, and I brought my wife, and we all met at their place up in Washington, which was awesome, and stayed there for like 2 weeks, and I downed like a whole bag of these while I was there. and we were there when the finale of Arcane came out. So we watched the finale of Arcane together too. That was really cool. Hot dang, these are good. All right, everybody. I'm gonna go grab the first piece of merchandise I was sent to reveal the sponsorships. I'll be right back. All right, everybody. Our first sponsor for 2023 is one that you guys would not see coming, and if you did, it's kind of creepy. I have no idea how you figure this out. Our first sponsor for 2026. I actually have 3 reveals today, technically. Our first sponsor is Retroid Games in Concord, North Carolina. I'm a frequent avid customer of theirs, and they love my videos. And they're going to be sponsoring a very, 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 very big project I have coming up. They are providing me with a lot of things, which I will flip over and give you guys a 2-second preview of. This is all you get. Oh, that's still me. Wow. I wonder what this very empty space is for. Huh. I wonder what this very, very empty space is for. I wonder what this could possibly be about. I wonder what that could possibly be about. So, that's happening. That's a very large project. So, oh wait. Double hatting it today. Thank you to Retroid Games for funding this project. I'm very excited to deliver very fun goodness to everyone with that in mind. Number two. Everybody. Do you have a lot of bulk lying around? Do you play Magic the Gathering in a way that you accumulate cards? You don't only buy singles? You actually open packs and play the game as Richard Garfield intended? Oh my goodness. Wow. What do you do with all those excess cards you may or may not need? Especially duplicates. Man, if only there was this awesome online service to sell your bulk cards and get money for them. I have been offered a sponsorship by Card Conduit. They're going to be sponsoring our upcoming Magic Fights Cancer stream. And then depending on how that goes, we're going to have a certain level of sponsorship agreement. But I am now under sponsorship with them. So, the big thing, I'm going to send out a big link. And everyone's going to get a discount for using Card Conduit to sell their cards. And this will help fund the Magic Fights Cancer stream this Friday. So we're going to be donating for everyone who sells their cards on Card Conduit that day. So we're going to do a big drive. So get your bulk together. Get your bulk ready. And this Friday, we're going to sell our boat. Ooh. Yeah, Card Conduit is fantastic. All right. I saved the tantalizing one for last. But I gotta admit, I am stoked about the Card Conduit. Because I use them a ton. They're such a freaking good service. All right, here we go. Oh, great, Earl Maid. Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you a list. All right, everybody. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, the green screen's eating it. I'm gonna have to turn the green screen off. That's so sad. Oh, that just ruined that. All right, green screen off. Oh yeah, baby. It happened. It finally happened. Dragon Shield, everybody. Just sent them my acceptance email as we speak. So unbelievably excited to be working with them. Ethan, that is great. I'm so glad we can be a good distraction for you and a good source of positivity. And I will talk more about positivity in a little bit. But, Yost. We're not just revealing to you the fact that we're working with them. I'm about to reveal what we're working with them on. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What is up, Mad Maverick? What's up, Retro? Y'all. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. Everybody, I would like you to be the first to enjoy and witness on stream the Death Cat Dragon Shield custom card collection. Custom sleeves, custom card sleeves, not cards. Yeah. First off, we got black mana. Oh. What do we think? What do we think, everybody? Blue mana. What we thinking? What we thinking? Next up. Ooh, that is the old version of this art. Shoot. Hold on. Let me get the proper one. That is not the updated one. There we go. There we go. How we liking that? How we liking that? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, baby. And with the chicken strips with Color's mana. Then we got the green mana. And red mana. Boom, baby. And last but not least, our white mana, which many of you have seen already. That was our earliest one. Yeah. So these will be available as soon as I can get everything worked out with them. But just wanted to show you guys all I've got coming up. So freaking excited for this, as I'm sure many of you guys are as well. I think we're going to have an amazing time. So hyped. So unbelievably hyped. Yes, the artist for this is Michael Ketchen, who did 7 items in the Dungeons & Dragons 2024 handbook and may or may not be working on Magic now. I'm not at liberty to discuss. Michael's a great friend of mine. He's a wonderful person, and we've been working on these since last September, I think, or like July-ish. So, long time coming. Very happy to be here. Let's get that hat on, baby. Retroid. Gotta rep the new sponsor. Yes, we are doing custom decks. Absolutely. Yeah. 2026 is looking peak, everybody. It's looking peak. Very excited. Very, 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 very excited. How are y'all feeling? How y'all feeling about that? Is that feeling like peak for 2026? Feeling like we hit pretty good. We hit pretty good. Obviously, as many of you know, I will be moving into an office on Monday, January 20th. Or sorry, Tuesday, January 20th. I'm going to be taking that week off. So next week, I'm taking it off to move into the new office. We're going to have a normal week for the last week of January. So normal 3 streams. And then the first week of February, we are going to have been fully caught up. All the decks are going to be done. The website's going to be completely fixed. Shipping's going to be finished. I'll be moved into the new office. I'm going to take a week to kind of like adjust to it and work out the kinks. And then first week of February, y'all, 5 streams in 1 week. Mega stream all early Friday. And we're going to be doing some live roasts, live deck builds, raffles. It's going to be huge. I'm going to be having some sales running that entire week. And as promised in my announcement video, I'm taking all of January to just get set up for the year. We're making sure everyone has their decks. Everyone's gotten their shipments done. I want to make sure we are clean to go. And then February, baby, we hitting it hard. We're hitting it hard. I'm so excited. So excited. So without further ado, who's ready for some decks? I'll release the charity start time. I'm pretty sure I'm doing 1 p.m. Yes, Eternal Abyss. Let's see who is on deck today. Let me get this all sorted out and we'll start. We're going to have a lot more people very soon. Okay, today is Caludio, Dead Helden, Kingfish, Tagrador, the Chaos Outpost, Mr. Chatterbox, Arianel, Spellshock, and 8-Bit. That's who we got on deck today, everybody. Yeah, but what you're going to see is that even if your name wasn't called to be shown on stream today, your deck is going to be in your hands by this Friday. We are getting everything done by Friday this week. So even if it's not on stream yet, don't worry. It'll be streamed by the end of January, and you are 100% going to be having your deck by the end of the week. Yes, the reverse landfall deck and all my most popular decks are getting an entire update video. I'm going to be going over my top 5 decks from 2025, which accrued over 100,000 views on Moxfield, which, holy crap, like, what is that? That, like, blew my mind. It's so I'm going to be doing the updated versions of my top 5 lists of 2025. And it's not like the top 5 in terms of viewership, it's my personal top 5, and obviously Reverse Landfall's on there. It's going to be a full catch up from last year by this Friday. So we'll be completely caught up. That way we can finish January by the end of January. And then during February, now that we're like all caught up, we're going to do a huge February month. And I got a big event planned. Oh, I'm excited for yours too, Earl Maid. Your December list has been cooking. So, one quick answer to everyone that has asked this. DefCat, why is my deck not done or submitted? It's because it's not been tested. It's made, it's finished. But y'all, I refuse to sell you something I didn't test. That is so disingenuous and rude of me to do that. And I would never just sit here and line a bunch of cards I think would work and ship it off to you. That's stealing your money. So, how do I test them? Landering, great question. We sit down and I ask my friends to pick a regular 7, like they sculpt a 7 out of their decks that I've built them. So these are like older decks. And then I have to try to regularly mulligan for a good hand in the deck that I built you. And then we kind of speed play through around 8 turns. It takes us anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the complexity of the deck. I try to get 2 decks done an hour with them. So I spend all day on the weekend testing as many as I can for the week. And then decks that like I'm very confident on, I will goldfish for about 30 minutes. And just sit there and make sure like it's running smoothly. But I'm going to say 90% of the decks get tested. Nice. Ooh, Ethan, that's awesome. I don't know when I'm receiving my boxes. When I do, though, we will be hanging out, cracking packs here on the channel. Oh, yeah. I should have mentioned that. Pack openings are back for the channel, everybody. We are going to be doing pack openings every single day. But, you know what? I'll spoil this for you guys. Every pack opened on this channel will be given away to patrons. Every single pack opening short I upload has a wheel at the top, and it picks a random patron. And as long as you're okay covering the flat ship, you get it. No funny business. I rip it, you get it. And DefCat, what do I have to pay to do that? Nothing. You're in the Patreon. Thank you. This is my thank you to you. Big booms. I think it's like, if you're in country, I think you're only going to have to buy like $1.50 shipping thing from me to get them. But we're going to be opening Lorwyn and a case of Final Fantasy. So everyone is going to have 60 to 62 chances every month to win. So it's a very high chance because there's only 130 paid members on the Patreon. So that means once every 2 months, you should theoretically win. Yeah, a whole case of Final Fantasy. That's what's crazy though too. I have never had anyone come back to me with a custom deck I built and tell me it didn't work. Because it's tested. I know it works. I get so many stories from the Discord of people going like, hey, my friends have banned the deck you built me. It stomps. No, the pool doesn't shrink for every short because of the high amount of winners. It's 2 a day, and I might even kick it up to 3 a day if people like it enough. And the higher tier on Patreon you are, you get extra entries. Yeah, if people order evil decks from me, I do in fact make them lose friends. That is kind of the point. They ask me to do that. Yeah, your Xantcha deck? Yeah, KV. Yeah, baby. Yeah. I have not built a custom deck for myself since December. So I need to do one this month for myself. Yeah, dude, the Megatron list. Oh yeah. Well, speaking of Megatron, let's get into today's submissions. The first one I would like to talk about is from 8-Bit, and it is Transformers Evolved, baby. Let's get into it. All right, everybody. So, let's talk about the submission. 8-Bit says, hello, this one is for my wife. She simply requested a Transformer deck. She does not mind leaving some Transformers out if they clash with the overall way you decide to take the deck. She does request that it is not an equipment deck. Do not worry. We are, in fact, absolutely not an equipment deck. Don't worry. Quick question, Ethan says. My friends are honestly terrified. Oh, what's the question? Oh, I will mention that my Kellen deck was a bit hungry on the ramp, so I changed it up a bit. I love it regardless. Good. Do you think the Megatron deck would benefit from a Goblin Welder, Thornbite Staff, Infinite combo? Oh man. Oh, that's a long answer if you're in for it. I've taken infinite combos out of my decks. I don't like them anymore. Unless I'm playing bracket 4, I just don't like infinite combos. I don't mind them in my games. I have no problem with my friends getting them. But I get bored of decks that have infinite combos. Especially if it has infinite combos and the combo is only 2 cards and there's tutors in the deck. I just end up feeling like I'm playing Go Fish or Solitaire. Yo, big dog. What's up? ABC. So, what is Transformers Evolved? 8-Bit asked for his wife to get a Transformer list. So what I made is a massive every single Transformer list. So let's talk about how this can realistically be bracket 3 and not just a garbage pile. So first off, we need ways to cheat out our robots. So the first thought is Dr. Eggman. All of these are robots. Dr. Eggman is our secret commander, and he allows you every turn at the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Then each opponent faces a villainous choice. That player either discards a card or you may put a robot from your hand onto the battlefield. So we can cheat out with Dr. Eggman. Second way we cheat out with this list. Lurking Predators. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you may put that card onto the bottom of your library. So we're going to have 21 chances in our deck to flip and get a free creature from Lurking Predators. Next, all of these guys are legendary. All of the Transformers are legendary. So our next way to get a free one is we -3 Dihada, look at the top 4 of your library, put any number of legendary cards from among them into your hand and the rest in your graveyard. Create a treasure token for each card put into your graveyard this way. So we're going to normally be able to free cast by activating Dihada, and we will obviously find some of our Transformers. So now, this deck is all about being a Transformer, and what I liked about this is like the Transformer movies growing up and the toys, I always felt like they're all terrain, and some of them can, you know, fly, some of them are helicopters, some of them are like mega trucks. Like, it was that level of complexity that went into them that, like, when you look back at the CGI from the Transformers movies, they're just nuts. Like, they hold up today. I think we can all agree on that. The Transformers movies absolutely hold up visually, which is just stunning. And so I wanted to make a deck with that level of holy crap, how does that work? You know, because it's complex. But I also didn't want to make the deck a junk pile. So this is how we did it. I added every single charm. Because now, Transformers, more than meets the eye, you can pick any one of these modes, and it'll always do something for your game plan. But no regular deck can just poop these charms out. That's a lot of pips. That is a stupid amount of pips. So we have 3 ways to deal with this issue. The first one is Chromatic Orrery, or Chromatic Lantern. Lands you control have add 1 mana of any color, and it adds a mana of any color. Right off the bat, big help. Next, Chromatic Ori. You may spend mana as though we're a mana of any color. Big way to help us with this. But the most consistent way we're going to be transforming and be more that meets the eye, Omnath, Locus of All. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card if it has 3 or more colored mana symbols in it. All of the charms do that. If you do, add 3 mana in any color combination if it's and within its colors. If you don't, reveal it and put it in your hand. So what's really awesome is you are going to be able to basically flip, I think it's half our creatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's only 6 of our creatures. 6 of our creatures. And then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. You have 24 chances in this deck to flip during your pre-combat main phase and get that extra mana and help you. So outside of that, we do have some good color fixing and good ramp. And then we have a couple things to keep our creatures safe, such as Negate and Swan Song, and Deflecting Swat. I am adding Crop Rot in this deck because of Cradle. I think this deck will do very well with Cradle because of having Chromatic Ori. So I felt like that was a really good inclusion as a game changer. Let's give this deck a whirl, shall we? So, our first hand has access only to white and black because Cradle doesn't tap. So we can't cast Sylvan Tutor to go get a Mana Dork or anything. So that's an instant pitch. Only 1 land. Let's go down to 6. Okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Ooh, ooh. I like this 6. This is a hot 6. Yeah. Very nice, very nice. We'll keep an early Transformer hand, and we'll pitch the Druid Charm to the bottom of the library. Let's try this out, chat. All right. Hand on 6. First turn. Ooh, ripping the Halfling off the top, baby. Let's go. All right, next turn. Ooh, it was Sylvan Library. Don't mind if I do. Felwar Stone Library. Ooh, all right. All right, all right. Next turn, we rip that 8 life. You know how it is. Awesome, awesome. And the 2 from the Stomping Ground, so we're 30. This is looking pretty strong. This is looking pretty dang strong. So right now, this Dryad doesn't do anything for us because we didn't get extra lands. So we're going to keep him back. So our best bet here is to let the Blood Crypt come in untapped. Doesn't really matter because we're going to pay the 2 life anyway. And we're going to do black, red, green, blue, white. And slam Omnath. All right, turn 4. Here comes the biggie. Let's see what we get. All right, first reveal. Reveal a top card of our library. How do I do that? All right, reveal top card. It's a Misty Rainforest. All right, that just goes into our hand. So we'll play the Misty. We'll crack it. Oh wait, we didn't Sylvan Library. My bad. So technically these are our draws. All right, main phase reveal. Lotus Petal. Okay, that goes in our hand. All right, we'll Misty. We'll go get a Scrubbly Bubble. Not a Scrubbly Bubble, a Tundra? Or Taiga, right? Yeah, we'll go get a Taiga. We'll tap our colorless from our Delighted Halfling for the Soul Ring. Play out Lotus Petal for the Ristic. And then we will play our first More That Meets the Eye Slicer. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about this so far. All right, let's go to our next turn. Rip 2 more. Bing, 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 bing. And then look at the top card of our library. Dihada, baby. Let's get 3 extra white mana. Awesome. We're going to pay 3 for Dryad. Play 2 extra lands for turn. Now we'll go get Scrubland. Whoops. Hit the wrong button. Awesome. Play the old Dihada. Minus Dihada. Put 4 in our graveyard. Boom, baby. We got Starscream and we got Jetfire and then 4 treasures. Solid. And then we've got 7 total mana available to us. So we'll play out Starscream and then Flame War. And so it's turn 5. And we've put out a Rhystic, a Sylvan Library, a Dryad, a Dihada, and 3 freaking robots on turn 5. Hot take, this is a good deck. Lukewarm, ice cold take. This is a pretty freaking good deck. But what are you thinking, chat? What are y'all thinking? Don't let me decide. I'm biased. I built it. How are we feeling about this deck? How are we feeling about more than meets the eye? Spicy. It's definitely spicy. I wonder. Who makes the art for Omnath Locus of All? The artist is Brian Sola for the original. You'd let the deck take you to dinner. I love it. That's too funny. So it's Brian Sola for the original art. The full art is Helg Balzer. And the showcase art that we're using is Jessica Rosier. Let's check out. Ah, yes, they did the Green Commander Collection Sylvan Library. So you definitely have chances to like match artwork with Brian Sola in this deck if you guys are interested in that, like I am. I love matching stuff. Let's look up Helga C. Let's put this up here if I can. Okay, yeah. I'm glad I waited. This person does in fact have not safe for work art. Let me take. Okay, cool. This person's fine. We can look at this person. Okay, good. This stuff is sick. Very cool. Wow. There's some of their magic art they did. Nice. Wow. Crazy stuff. Yeah, stream saved. I'm glad I waited. I was like, I wonder if they've got a store. That's an artist face right there if I've ever seen one. Art Station. They still got their Deviant art up there. Heck yeah. Very awesome. And last but not least, let's check out Jessica Rosier. Oh, they don't have an artist website, and they're from France. But they do use a lot of Instagram. Oh, they privatized their Instagram. That's sad. There we go. Their Facebook's active. Very cool. Very nice. Ooh, they got a proof. Ooh. Hold up, y'all. I'm gonna inquire about an artist proof from them. Oh my gosh. Sweet. Alrighty, y'all. Next deck, Spell Shock Carador. We haven't not done a Carador deck on this stream yet. Believe it or not. Why was my thing down there? There we go. Everybody, welcome to Carador. If you guys are not familiar with the Nitpicking Nerds, BZ, the tallest Magic the Gathering YouTube creator of all time, this is his favorite deck. This is his favorite way to play, and all that in between. Carador, he thinks, is the perfect commander. I've played against this Carador deck so many times. Carador says, this spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a creature spell from your graveyard. I'm pretty sure BZ's like 6'8". I'm not kidding. Hold on, I wonder if that's a Googleable question. How tall is BZ from Nitpicking Nerds? He's 6'6". As of 2019. So he probably has grown a little bit. I wonder if I have a photo with him on my phone that just shows you the absolutely devastating height difference we have from one of the Magicons, because dear heavens, is it insane. No, I've got a picture of Ryan on his phone at dinner. I don't know why I have that. A photo with BZ in it. No, this is all mostly the Playing with Power crew. And then me and, if you guys know Tappy Toe Claws, we're real close. Love Tappy. Cutting out some proxies, heck yeah. No BZ pics from Vegas. It must have been previous Magicons we spent more time with each other at. I think all of our photos are probably sitting down together playing games, though, which is the funny part. Yeah, I'm almost positive it's all us sitting down playing games. That's hilarious. Yep, every photo is us sitting. That is too funny. I have a bunch of screenshots of messages between him and I because we were discussing editing back when I was helping them out with their channel. So that's also, I don't know, it's funny to look back through all this and see all the variations. Oh, here's a funny picture for y'all. This is what my office looked like when I first started. I think 2 years ago on this project. Oh my gosh. It was getting there. Alright, y'all. Let's get into this Carador list. So, I built this Carador list around a specific request. Spellshock, you said, I would like an Abzan Graveyard Recursion deck that includes Survival of the Fittest as one of the 3 game changers, and It's supposed to be $600, not including Survival of the Fittest or Soulstone. And you did not say anything about combos in this list, so I wanted to make a Carador list that is at least a little bit more unique. Most Carador lists obsessively want to reanimate and bring back or recast really hoarding, crazy monster, Eldrazi's that don't shuffle, nutso stuff. I decided we want pain in our life, so instead, we're going to be utilizing a more group slug activity with our time. And then we're going to have protection for it in the form of things like being able to recast Spore Frog, which will prevent all combat damage so we can keep ourselves alive. Recasting Plague Crafter and Ravenous Chupacabra that will destroy opponents' creatures. And then recasting things like Sakura Trivelder to get us more ramp. And then eventually, our ultimate goal is to recast and kill Protean Hulk to go get a pile that wins us the game on the spot. I also didn't want to run Entomb and turn this into Solitaire either. I wanted this to be actual RNG style things. So the Entomb was requested, but I'm suggesting if you want to play this list, run it more mill style. I think you'll enjoy the RNG more than the directness. But honestly, Ripples of Undeath, high key, I think it's my favorite card in this entire list. It is Black Sylvan Library. It's one of my favorite Magic cards ever printed, honestly. And I wish it had... Okay, I don't mean this how it comes off, but I'm not a huge fan of the art for this card. I do wish it had something less cartoonish. If you would, like, I was... Let me pull something up here. I'm thinking... I was hoping this would have something a little bit more Ron Spencer. You know? See how visceral that is? Like, this looks like Ripples of Undeath. Right? Ripples, Yawgmoth's Ripples of Undeath. You know, that's what I'm thinking. You know, this is a little bit too clean for my tastes. I want a little flesh being flayed kind of Ripples of Undeath thing. So, how's it work with the deck? Ripples of Undeath. At the beginning of the pre-combat main phase, you mill 3 cards. Then, you may pay 1 mana to put one of those back into your hand. So the idea... Oh, what's up, Darth Nacho? Welcome, welcome. The idea of Ripples of Undeath is that it will mill us creatures that we can then cast with Carador from our graveyard. Because once each turn, you may cast a creature spell from your graveyard. And then we can pay that 1 mana and 3 life to get back things we did not want to mill, like if we accidentally mill Necromancy. Probably don't want to mill that card. Or if we accidentally do Chord of Calling. Probably didn't want to do that. So things like that, for the most part. Whoa. I have not seen this Village Rites. Hold on. Oh, is it the canceled... Is this the canceled Secret Lair from Monster Hunter? That's why I haven't seen it. Interesting. The best Village Rites already exists. It's this one. Oh. Yeah, it's Mill with Protection. Bro, that is so cracked. It's so much fun. I love it. I love it. Also, I gotta get me an original plane shift one of these one day. Did that say $700? Never mind. Oh my god. Yeah, scratch that. I will never own one of these, and I don't want to. Never mind. So, this deck 100% best shown by playing it. So, the biggest thing we want in this is that this was on a budget, so I did not go hard with the lands. So, there are a fair amount of there are a fair amount of basics. But the number one thing, the absolute number one thing you need to do when you are picking your opening hands with this list, guys, the number one thing, other than clicking to the next scene so you guys can actually see what I'm doing, please, for God's sakes, make sure you're keeping something that mills in your opening hand. Perfect. Aftermath Analyst. And this is great. This is a perfect hand. Culling Ritual, so we can recast our stuff from our graveyard after with the mana with Carador. We've got Aftermath Analyst for milling. We've got Deathrite Shaman to exile things that we didn't need milled that help us. And we have an Entomb. And we got 3 lands. Cracked second 7. All right, let's draw for turn. We are going to cast Swamp. Cast Swamp, play Swamp, and Deathrite Shaman. Next turn, we'll do the, probably the Sungrass Prairie. And then we're going to do, ooh, actually, that's kind of hard. Nah, not difficult, not difficult. Okay. We'll, exile a fetch from an opponent's library to pay for black. Or sorry, to pay for green plus black, and we'll play and then tap the Fetid Heath. Aftermath Analyst will mill 3, and then Stitcher Supplier will mill 3. Awesome. So let's look at our graveyard here. Let's obviously we can't redo the order of this graveyard, so let's keep it in order here. So right now we have a Worldly Tutor, a Luminous Broodmoth. Thank you so much, Alex. That's so sweet of you. I just realized I don't remember the last time I got a donation. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. You rock. I want some custom deck build later from South America. Ooh, South America. That is wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here, Alex. Yeah, get a custom deck built on the website. Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That really brightened my day. That really means a lot. Thank you. So right now with what we have in here, we would really like to get this Necromancy back, right? That would be pretty great. How are we going to do that? We're going to do it by casting Entomb next turn and going and getting a Eternal Witness. Eternal Witness will then get Necromancy out of our graveyard for us. So let's put this back in the order it went. We'll go to our next turn, play a land, and then Carador currently says this spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in our graveyard. So we only have 1 right now in our graveyard. So what we can do, which I think you guys are going to find this pretty dang cool, we're going to tap Deathrite Shaman to make us a green, and then we'll do white, green, black. So we got 4 mana, right? We're gonna use 4 mana, and we're gonna cast Culling Ritual. Culling Ritual will sacrifice the Stitcher Supplier, which will mill 3 more cards. It'll sacrifice Aftermath Analyst and the Deathrite Shaman, and we're gonna get 3 mana. Then, on average, all of our opponents have 1 card that's 2 CMC or less on their board. We'll say 4 average between the 3 of them. So we have 7 total mana right now. Our graveyard has now gained 5. We have 5 creatures in our graveyard. So Carador costs 3 mana. So we're going to use 3 of our different mana to do the white, green, and the black, because we saved the green. And then now we're going to be able to cast 1 creature card from our graveyard this turn. We're going to use 1 of our 4 remaining mana to cast Entomb. And we're going to go get Nethroi, Apex of Death. And then use our remaining 2 to do Satyr Wayfinder. If this creature reveals the top 4 card of your library, you may put a land card from among them into your hand and put the rest of your graveyard. So we're going to reveal the top 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put Twilight Mire into our hand, the rest in our graveyard. Now we have a Gravecrawler in the graveyard that we can recast right now, because it says you may cast it from your graveyard. And we have the 1 left mana for that. So Gravecrawler. And then Twilight Mire. Next turn, play a land. And now we're going to... Ooh, we're just shy of being able to recast Nethroi for his mutate cost. We're just shy of it. So what else would we like to recast? We could do Aftermath Analyst. We're one shy of Sun Titan. That'll be sick. So we'll do, I believe, the Luminous Broodmoth. That way, if anything of ours dies, it'll come back from the graveyard. Awesome. Turn 5. We get that land. It's Sun Titan time, baby. Sun Titan hits. And then we're going to get back Aftermath Analyst and Stitcher Supplier. Boom, baby. And we're going to mill 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. And then another 1, 2, 3. Heck yeah. That is nasty. So now every turn, you are just going to be absolutely milking it. Next turn, play a land. And then for 4 mana, we can sacrifice Aftermath Analyst and put every single land card from our graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. And we have now set up the nastiest next turn. And then we will have the Aftermath Analyst come back because it didn't have flying. So now it gets a flying counter from Luminous Broodmoth. And we mill 3 more cards. Yeah. Oh, and what's that? What's that? Oh, we still have a recast left before end of turn. Let's recast Viscera Seer. Sacrifice Stitcher Supplier will scry. We do an Arbor Elf. Stitcher Supplier comes back. And then we mill 3 more. You guys getting the picture? You guys getting the picture, huh? You liking it? You liking it? It's so gross. So gross. Next turn, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 mana in just lands. Holy crap, dude. Yeah. I cooked. What can I say? Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. All right, y'all. Let's get on to the next list. Let's get on to the showcase. This is for Arianel Rakdos, Lord of Riots. Let's check this list out. All right. Arianel, you asked for the most Rakdos list deck imaginable. I want to be focused on playing fast creatures and then attacking with them and using their deaths to help me get bigger stuff to then play out and attack. If a Reanimator sub-theme is possible, it would be great, but I don't want it to be focused. I want it to be focused on aggro primarily. And minimal burn. No infinite combos. It's full proxy, so I got to go all out. Let's do it. I have not checked out the new Lorwyn set. We will absolutely do a Lorwyn review later. We'll make sure to get through that. That'll be really great. Rakdos the Muscle is very fun. So, the reason I picked Rakdos, Lord of Riots, is because I wanted to build a deck with big booty hasty boys. We got Anger. We've got Cavern Hoarder Dragon. We've got Dragon Lord Kolaghan. You probably never heard of this one. Xayva Rakdos Blood Witch. We went Rakdos nuts with this list. And my favorite version of Rakdos, Rakdos Showstopper. When Rakdos Showstopper enters the battlefield, flip a coin for each creature that isn't a demon, devil, or imp and destroy each creature which come up tails. I have a horrible relationship with this card as I played it at the original pre-release it was released at, and I flipped heads on all 6 of my opponent's creatures and scooped. That sucked. But ever since then, it's treated me correctly. It knows me now. We've formed a bond. And of course, we had to get Hexing Squelcher in there, guys. Who wasn't? Of course we were going to do that. So, I'm quite certain that 27, I think 26 to 27 of our 32 creatures have haste or give haste to the rest of our creatures in this list. So we're always going to be swinging out. And that was what this list was all about. The big thing is when we swing a ton, we're probably going to have creatures that die. If someone's got a 1/1 Death Toucher, swing in with confidence, my friend, because we have creatures that will reanimate our creatures from the graveyard. Start clearing that board, start swinging in. But I didn't want to leave you with your pants down. So a ton of our cards are Flying Trample or Flying Trample Haste or Flying Haste. So we've got Rankle and Torbran, we've got Rakdos, we've got Rakdos, we've got Rakdos, we've got Obnixilis, Olivia, Crimson Bride, Orcus, lots of Flying and Trample, lots of haste, and lots of ways to give all of our creatures haste. And then, if a creature with haste dies, Shadow is going to be our backup commander to make sure that we still get card draw out of those hasty creatures dying so we can continue to push forward. So, very excited to see how that works. And then we have some spectacle costing things because it's a fun Rakdos mechanic. I thought it would be fun to push through. And then I really enjoy Spawn of Mayhem for 3. And then, of course, Light Up the Stage. In my opinion, the best spectacle cost card in the game. Freaking awesome. And it says exile up to 2 cards of your library until end of your next turn. You may play those cards. So it's effectively drawing 2 cards for 1 mana, as long as you smack someone's booty. But yeah, lots of ways to give all the creatures haste. Urbrask the Hidden also says that. Creatures you control have haste, and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield freaking tapped, baby. Well, hey, what's that? What's that over there? Huh? Kratos? Turn that crap sideways, baby. Not in my house. And then I wanted to also, let me get back to the, I really love the boast mechanic, and I'm really sad there aren't more boasting Rakdos characters. So I wanted to put back into perspective Varagoth Bloodsky's Sire. 2 mana, Imp Seal every time you attack. That's really strong. Like, really, 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 really strong. I didn't want to, like, absolutely, like, you know, bust it crazy with it. Sorry, by the way, I just got a message from the Card Conduit guys. They're sending me my creator code here in a little bit. So, woo! I feel like this is one of the most underplayed black cards ever. If you don't already own one, I highly suggest buying one. It also just got reprinted in Final Fantasy as Idian Izunia. It's also a great commander. Highly suggest this card. The next card I highly suggest, which absolutely needs a reprint, obviously, Tales of Middle-earth, baby, Cavern Hoarder Dragon. I actually recently picked up sketching, and I've been learning how to draw, and this was one of the first cards I thought of trying to sketch and like trying to draw. And so I love Cavern Hoarder Dragon. I think it's one of the coolest cards out there. It costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest number of artifacts your opponent's controls, so it gets easier to cast, and it's Flying Trample Haste 6/6, and you create treasures equal to the amount of artifacts your opponent's controls that you just smacked. If you draw this late game, bro, 2 red, make 7 treasures, Flying Trample Haste, feels so good. And then let's say none of your friends play with artifacts, none of them like their bips and baubles. Don't you worry, Rakdos, Lord of Riots, will lower the casting cost for each 1 life your opponent's lost this turn. Okay. So I gotta confess. Here's the thing. I did not build this list with Rakdos, Lord of Riots properly built. I didn't. because this deck was about being aggro, and I wanted the deck to be able to exist without having to care about Rakdos. And so I did not include a lot of the cards that are considered autos in a Rakdos Lord of Riots list. Those cards would be creatures that are not meant to swing. They just tap and deal damage to your opponents to make creatures automatically cheaper. I did not want to do that because it didn't feel Metal Rakdos enough. It felt more pingy, burny. Not what we were asked to build. Not what we were asked to build. Heartless Hidetsugu, though. Now this bad boy right here. Oh yeah, we're building that. Tap Heartless Hidetsugu and deals damage to each player equal to half that player's life total rounded down. Blicky. Big Ogre Shaman Blicky. So if you want to get your casting cost down, he's your man. He's your man. Ooh, Otter Pirate. I love that. The Vargoth that tutors up the Vecna pieces. Hell yeah. That's hot. That's hot. I love how spicy that is. So moving on from the creatures, our support is in the form of a lot of card draw, Wheel of Fortune, Winds of Change, and then some like smaller reanimation as a backup tool like Victimize, and then some less than optimal tutors for the bracket level like Grim Tutor. I also want to be able to sacrifice things to make mana, so we are going to be running Burnt Offering, and we also want to be able to kill our opponent's stuff. So of course we're throwing in Infernal Grasp because it's brutal, and Deadly Rollick. And then honestly, now that I'm looking at this, instead of Bolt Bend, I'm thinking Doomblade. It's just cooler. I'm thinking Doomblade. And of course we got to get that sexy art out. Woo! I love this Doomblade so much. But I gotta admit, the OG art for Doomblade, I don't think I can get topped. It's just so iconic. So freaking iconic. But it's still really great. I think this kind of art normally looks better in person, is the biggest thing. Yeah. So, going a little bit deeper into this. Oh. What in the world is that? Oh, I thought I got a message from one of the Magic artists. I was like, they messaged me back already? So a big part in what makes a Rakdos list fun is actually being able to cast our cards. So we're going to be running Ruby Medallion and Fire Crystal to lower all the costs, because we only have like 2 or 3 mono black creatures in the whole list. It might even just be 2. Yeah, okay, it's 5 total. Demon Lord, Archfiend, Vargoth, and Bloodletter. Everything else is either Rakdos or red. So I opted for only the rubies and the red to help us out. After that, a bit of our reanimation sub-theme, and then I love Dark Prophecy. Whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card, lose a life. We love benefiting off of our own demise. And then, of course, with a little bit of reanimation sub-theme, we gotta have Ripples of Undeath, as I've already talked about, guys. And now, for one of my deep cuts, one of my favorite deep cuts, Sunbird's Invocation. Whenever you cast a spell from your hand, reveal the top X cards of your library, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. You may cast a card revealed this way with converted mana cost X or less without paying its mana cost. So that means if I cast 5 CMC Big Boy and I reveal 4 CMC Boy, I cast 4 CMC Boy for free. And then Cultist of the Absolute to make us sacrifice a creature on upkeep, but it gives our commander a big buff to help us out with that sub theme like I was talking about. But yeah, this is the most Rakdos list I could think of that is aggro and fun, that isn't really played as much. And I didn't make it just a Rakdos Lord of Riots list. It truly is a I want to beat face list. So enjoy, Arianel. Have fun being the Lord of Riots. Next up for Mr. Chatterbox, going into the recent Stranger Things hype, everybody, Will the Wise and Dustin Gadget Genius. Will the Wise is white-black and says when Will the Wise enters or leaves the battlefield, that means if you blink it, each opponent may investigate. Each opponent who does loses 1 life, and you investigate X times, where X is 1 plus the number of opponents who investigated this way. So the idea is that you can either force everyone to give you a bunch of clues or force them to lose 1 life. Pretty good deal so far. Then Dustin Gadget Genius says tap, add 2 colorless, spend this mana only to activate artifact spells or activated abilities of artifacts. So Dustin is going to give us the mana to use the tokens that Wills the Wise makes us so we can draw cards. Now, how do we actually win in a deck like this? We either blink Will a bunch and force people to take damage or give us an insane amount of card draw, but that only is a win con if we want to go infinite with Will and spam him to the point where we get infinite clues and then draw our deck and do Thoracle crap. We ain't talking about that right now. We are going to be abusing the amount of artifacts we get and triggering them. So let's go through all the awesome levels of abuse we're about to put our friends through with Will the Wise and Dustin. Academy Manufacturer. If you would create a clue, food, or treasure token, which in fact we are creating a clue token, believe it or not, instead create 1 of each. I'm sure many of you know this card. I'm still shocked it's only $7.50. This should be much more expensive of a card. Academy Manufacturer will allow us to get a food and a treasure token every time Will the Wise enters or leaves the battlefield. Now, let's say Will the Wise has entered or exited the battlefield constantly. What are we going to be doing in order to maximize on that? Cyber Drive Awakener. Flying. Other artifact creatures you control have flying. When Cyber Drive Awakener enters the battlefield until end of turn, each non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with base power 4/4. So, the idea is that this is our mono blue Craterhoof. This is going to turn all of our tokens into big flying 4/4s that smack our opponents in the face for a ton. But how do we get so many of those that we even do that, right? Delny Streetwise Lookout will double the triggered ability of Will the Wise and give us 2 clues every time Will the Wise enters and or exits the battlefield. And then Disciple of the Vault says whenever an artifact is put into the graveyard from play, you may have target opponent lose 1 life. This will allow us to get a ton of extra tokens, and then Disciple of the Vault will also trigger an additional time, allowing us to do 2 damage. And this becomes just a disgusting machine of constantly flickering Will, constantly getting artifact tokens, and then using Dustin as a mana generation source in order to consistently crack all those clues in order to draw through your deck. A lot of people would normally put the Isochron Scepter combo in this deck, but the idea is that this is not supposed to be an infinite combo deck at all. We're just going for like the idea of flickering and dealing that way. So we also have a backup commander of Tivit, Seller of Secrets. Tivit will allow us to create clues and treasures, which goes bonkers, and then a ton of our stuff here investigates when it enters the battlefield. But we're going off on a whole different world here. We're going to go off into like happy-go-lucky land, because by the time that we're spamming these artifacts, y'all, we're going to be surveilling with Golbez Crystal Collector. So Golbez says whenever an artifact enters, surveil 1. So now we're going to have a little bit of like card selection in our graveyard, but also at the beginning of your end step, if you control 8 or more artifacts, each opponent loses life equal to a target creature in your graveyard, and then you put it in your hand. So we just have a really intense roster of backup not so good commanders between Golbez, Tivit, and Urza, Lord High Artificer, that will turn all of those tokens that we make into mana rocks, because he says all artifacts add blue mana with a tap. The rest of our creatures are either affinity creatures. In order to cast them, that means they cost 1 less to cast per artifact you control on your battlefield. And the other ones are ways to blink will. The biggest one being Displacer Kitten. It says whenever you cast the non-creature spell, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent you control, and then put it back under your battlefield. So that means we will flicker will, and when it'll leave the battlefield, will trigger, and then he'll enter and will trigger. So we can get potentially 6, for every non-creature spell we cast, 6 clues, or deal 6 damage for just 1 non-creature spell cast. And a non-creature spell can just be a Mox Hammer for 0, or a Mox Helpful for 0. Boom, baby. Yeah, I love Golbez. Love Golbez. His full art's so pretty and so cool, and it's only $5. I love that the Magic economy is crashing. Let's go. Give me cards for cheap, baby. A foil Elesh Norn's only $25. Life is good again. Woo! Woo! So, where would we like to go with this list once we've created all this stuff? So, Disciple the Vault deals damage. Mirkwood Bats deals damage. Will themselves deals damage. How else do we want to close out this game? We're going to try to close it out with a manual time sieve. So the idea is that it's not infinite. We have to figure out a way to make enough artifacts every turn, which we should actually take Tivit out of this list for that reason, because that makes an unintentional infinite. So we're going to take out Tivit, and then we're going to put in Tymna. So that way we can attack in and get extra draws. Which I wonder how much a foil Final Fantasy Tymna is now. It's dropped. It's only 75. I'm still on the lookout for one of those. I have a regular printing right now. The idea now is that we want to try to manually figure out how we can use Time Sieve to take enough turns to burn the table. So I think that fits into what makes Commander more fun. And so I really like it when you guys tell me no infinites. Infinites aren't bad. I just think I prefer the non-infinite game plan, and that was a really cool way to do it. We have some really awesome reprints recently in foil for only $1 with Cloud Shift. Exile target creature you control, then return your card under your control to your battlefield. Essence Flux, Ephemerate. So we have 3 1-mana ways to trigger Will the Wise. And so let's say we have Delny out when we cast Cloud Shift on Will. That will trigger Will 4 times and get us 12 triggers, or sorry, 16 triggers, right? Am I doing that math right? No, 12 on our opponents. No, I was right. Hold on. No, it's 12. Yeah, it is 12. So we either do 12 damage or we get 12, up to 12 clues from a single spell with 1 mana. Like, that's disgusting. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Outside of that, we do have things like Conjurer's Closet in order to have our creatures be blinked, which is obviously very important. And then some ways to sack to draw cards, like Deadly Dispute, sack an artifact, draw 2 cards, make a treasure token. Deadly Dispute, still legitimately one of the best cards ever printed in Magic, and highly abusable. It's gotten some awesome art treatments. Highly suggest it. My favorite is the 30th anniversary edition. I think it looks amazing in person, but obviously we got some really cool ones like the Secret Layers recently. I'm just a little Secret Layer adverse myself when it comes to Magic. I'm a little bit more OG art only, but that is 100% a preference, and I do not disparage people for enjoying it. I'm not that person. Awesome. Okay, guys, let's go to our next list. The Chaos Outpost. Many of you may have thought, just by seeing this card, Def Cat. What is this? Are we back in Legends? What is this? What is this? Let me introduce all of you to Aisha Tanaka. Double blue pip, double white pip, Geisha, summon legend with banding. That's it, boys. Our first banding deck. Our first banding deck. That's right. And I remember I had one change I was going to make to this list, which was adding in the Pearl Medallion and the Wind Crystal. That is so funny. That is so funny, Ozzy. So let me make that really quick. There we go. Okay. So let's count for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we've got 21 creatures that innately have banding. 21. So banding is when creatures during the attack step can decide to effectively become one creature. They become a band. You can create multiple bands when you go to attack step, but if I attack with 4 creatures, I can have 3 of those creatures group up as one to attack. Their power and toughnesses are put together and their abilities are shared. So it's similar to Mutate. They band together. And so the idea being that if I give Stuffy Doll here or Creepy Doll banding, and I band it with Shield Bear, which is an 0/3, and then Sapraza Air, which is a 1/1, I now have a total power and toughness of 1/5, and I can choose to have that damage be done to Stuffy Doll, which is indestructible. And because I was blocked, Sapraza Air draws 3 cards, which also just freaking gorgeous art. Do you see this thing? So we go to attack step, and then we band creatures together into a band. That's how it works. They wanted a bracket 3 banding deck. Bracket 3. So in order to get us there, we have a couple extra win conditions in the form of Elesh Norn, Moonshaker Cavalry, and Audric Lunark that will create one of our band of creatures to be nutty and really strong. They'll essentially just create stupid, crazy big buffs for us to swing out of people. But banding is slow. Banding is a lot slower than modern day techniques to deal damage. Banding came out in 1996 with Mirage. So, in order to, really spruce it up, I realized we had to have an element of control. We're going to be running Counterspell, Dovin's Veto, Mana Drain, Swan Song, Negate, and Arcane Denial. And then on top of that, we're going to have some life gain and card draw. And we're also going to be using both Path to Exile, Original Exile, and Swords to Plowshares to clear off the field. And if all hell breaks loose, we've got Teferi's Protection in our back pockets. And we're going to make sure we keep ourselves safe. For sorceries, we have one. We have Dust to Dust. I tried to stick with older cards for this video, or for this deck. And the biggest thing about banding is that artifacts can destroy us due to there being a lot of artifacts in the game that can do like equal opportunity destruction of our ability to band. So Dust to Dust felt like a really cool card to include that was also a little bit flavorful, you know, just a thought. And then we've got cards that will give banding to the rest of our creatures. Baton of Morale, Helm of Chadzuk, and then, of course, tried and true classic, if we're going to go for banding, Akroma's Memorial to give flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and protection from black and red. We are a white and blue deck. It's very on theme. And I also just luckily opened an Akroma's Memorial recently, and it made me remind of it. And I just think this is the type of deck that really needs it. Outside of that, we have a fair amount of card draw in the form of Mystic Remora and Rhystic Study. I just thought they were very important to us really being able to have a shot at going for the win. Because we need to get as many creatures out as possible. And then Glorious Anthem and Honor of the Pure, allowing us to pump all those creatures that are banding together. But the biggest thing is True Conviction, giving double strike and lifelink. So we are in the white weenie category. But the flavor doesn't stop. Cathedral of Serra. All your white legends gain band with other legends. So what this will allow you to do is give Elesh Norn banding. And so I am thinking about adding more mono white legendaries. Oh, sorry, and Odric, which were our 2 win conditions I talked about earlier. I suggest putting in more mono white legendary bombs in this list. But I didn't know what direction they wanted to go. And I didn't want to oversell the deck on things that weren't banding. But I love Cathedral at Serra. It's Mark Poole. This was around the time that Brian Walkwitz was the art director for Magic the Gathering. And I just love him dearly. He's also a wonderful man. I've worked with him a couple times. He's extremely ecstatic to be talking again. We're hopefully going to have a collaboration soon. So I'll be keeping you guys updating on that, which I find very cool. But yeah, I love all of those lands. Keep it open to my creativity. Good. Thank you. Well, this is where my creativity definitely lied. I wanted to show a deck that truly made banding special and didn't get too far off of the banding hype. So the biggest thing that you want to do in this deck is give banding to a creature that benefits from banding disproportionately from others. So Surprising Air, drawing 3 cards every time you get blocked is crazy. Super good. Stuffy Doll giving indestructible to that stack, and then Elesh Norn. So again, the big strength behind banding is being able to have a creature be blocked, but you can assign all of your damage to another creature. And so making sure your creatures have indestructible by banding them with Stuffy Doll or with Creepy Doll, super big. And then of course, Odric Lunarch Marshal. So, and then also one of my favorite banding shots, Phyrexian Vindicator. If you get Phyrexian Vindicator banding, you are going to be in for a treat. If damage will be dealt to Phyrexian Vindicator, prevent that damage. And when the damage is prevented this way, it deals that much damage to any other target. It literally turns your entire banding stack into a giant mirror shield that reflects anything someone tries to throw at you. It's hot. It's hot. So in theory, you shouldn't be swung at, right? Or not be blocked unless people are desperate. And then when they do, they're going to pay dearly for it. So yeah, really like this deck. Super happy with it. It'll be on the website tonight. So thank you again to Chaos Outpost for sending this in. I loved this list. It was very fun making it. And testing went very well for it. I tested this deck against a Yarok the Desecrator landfall deck, and then 2 aggro red adjacent lists. I think it was a Rakdos list, and then a Mardu list that it went up against. And the banding ended up getting second at the table. It didn't take home the crown, and I realized I could have played it differently and kept up mana for Counterspell, and I could have won. So definitely keep in mind keeping up mana for counter spells on other people's turns. Definitely smart. All right, next up we have Tegrador Giganta. So I'm not going to cover this deck in depth here, because if you guys didn't notice, this deck was actually in a video where I showed you guys my entire process of making commander decks. So if you're interested in learning how I make decks, this deck has an entire video on the channel. It's the most recent video put up. It is a zoo deck based on if basically Animal Planet did a entire video series about Magic the Gathering. So I used all of Magic's iconic, creatures, the Lagoif, the Fungus, Birds, Hydra, Kavu, Mire, of course, Thrall, Beast, and all the other cool little naturey creatures for like a nature documentary deck. It's very fun. It's meant to be as powerful as you can really get that theme without going off theme. Loved it to death. It's got 2 win cons in the form of Rampaging Bailiffs and Craterhoof Behemoth. Our next one is for Kingfish. This is Kratos and Sun. Atreus, Impulsive Sun. I hope you guys are excited for this one. Is it Arturius or Atreus? All I remember from the video games is him being called Boy. 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 Is it Atreus or Arturius? Or there's no R, so it's Atreus. Yeah, it's Atreus. I'm not crazy. That's what I thought. So, Kratos' stoic father. Atreus. Okay, good. Atreus. Atreus? Whenever you attack with one or more gods, and whenever a god dies, you get an experience counter. At the beginning of your end step, put a number of +1/+1 counters on target creature equal to the number of experience counters you have. And then Atreus Impulsive Sun, reach 3 colorless, tap, draw a card for each experience counter you have, then discard a card. Atreus deals 2 damage to each opponent. Big, awesome, flexible card drawing father and son duo. We love to see a father loving his son. We love to see happy families here on DefCat MTG. This deck was asked, and I quote, the only 2 words in the description I was given: gods, baby. So we included gods. I am only a little bit sad I couldn't include my favorite god in the game because it is blue-green, but we still went ham. And of course, we have Kratos in his warrior prime in this deck. The entire intention of this deck is to poop out gods, get experience counters, and swing in. Nothing fancy about it, except, of course we're going to do something fancy. What channel do you think you're watching right now? We're going to be proliferating these experience counters and +1/+1 counters in order to maximize our gods' potentials. So, one of my favorite ones to do this with, Dreamtide Whale. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, proliferate. Y'all. Proliferate? Every turn if 2 spells are cast? Do you know how insane that is? That is undoubtedly busted. Like that is stupid. Stupid busted. That is crazy. Can you get over that? Oh, I think I actually made my music a little too loud. Sorry about that. That is crazy. So now we want extra combats. So we've got Karlach, and then I also wanted to bring in the boar god himself, Ilharg, the Raise Boar. Whenever Ilharg Raise Boar attacks, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking, and return that creature to your hand at the beginning of the next end step, so we can re-ETB really awesome stuff. Kratos is going to be given all of our stuff haste, which is super sexy. And then we also brought Roaming Throne out to double these triggers up. I feel like it was the best way to keep this chugging along. Sadly, everything that's going to be activating isn't going to be able to be doubled by Delny, so I did not include Delny in this list. After that, we have some ways to create additional combat phases within our sorceries, as well as generate large amounts of mana and card draw through Jessica's Will. and then a sub-theme of some control, because this deck, although it doesn't fold to board wipes, we would hate to lose our experience counters. So Fierce Guardianship, an offer you can't refuse, Deflecting Swat, Mana Drain, Sink into Stupor, Swan Song, and Arcane Denial in order to keep ourselves from total destruction. This deck got to go completely all out, so it got to include an insane amount of artifacts and mana. And then I'm going to make sure we actually include at least one basic. So I'm going to put a Plains in this deck, just as a safety measure. Plus, I'm pretty certain, from what I understand, yeah, we are a little white pip intensive sometimes, so that'll be helpful. Yeah, we have a couple cards with double white pips, so yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, we got like 5 or 6 that have double white pips. Good. Oh, 7 with Flowering White Tree. We are going to be leaning into the fact that this is still a typal deck, so we are going to be using Urza's Incubator. And then we're also going to be using Flowering of the White Tree. Legendary creatures you control get +2/+1 and have Ward. So that'll be very, very helpful. After that, I still wanted Kratos to swing in hard. So of course I had to grab Embercleave. Equipped your creature gets +1/+1 and gets Double Strike. And it costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature you control. It just felt like a given. I just want to see Kratos wielding this massive Embercleave. It is so awesome. I had a chance to buy an artist proof of this, and I'm still kicking myself that I haven't yet. One day when I can afford it, I really want to grab it. It's definitely probably my top 25 cards of Magic the Gathering. Love it. So this deck, in general, is a bit simplistic in terms of its design, but the card choices were tough, because there are a lot of gods, and I wanted to make sure I didn't just slam all these massive 5 mana plus gods into a deck and make it unplayable. So I kept our gods around the 3 mana mark when I was choosing them. So we've got a Changeling, and then we've got Birgi, we've got Hezeret, we've got obviously Kratos, we've got Redain, Thassa, the Warding Triad, and Venet, all at 3 CMC. It just felt right to have something lower, because I didn't want to twiddle our thumbs and then just beg to God that we got one of our artifacts for mana at the beginning. But it will also be really easy to get an artifact for mana at the beginning of this list, as you can tell. So this is bracket for Kratos and Sun with a god sub-theme. Thank you, Kingfish, for asking for this deck. I really liked it. I had a really fun time playing it, and dang does it feel good to play Kratos and Magic the Gathering. It's so cool. Alright, Dead Helden. I was asked to punish some people, chat. This is, in fact, the VV deck. I currently have, I think, the second most or most viewed VV deck in the world right now. Let's give that a look. Let's go to Moxfield. VV. We're looking at decks. And then we're going to do filters. Sort by views. All right, the tier list. That's not even a VV deck. Wait, more filters. Okay, I need to select the commander. There we go. VV Orinator. That's strange. Oh, is it because I put VV in the name? VV Orinator. Oh, VV Orinator. Is that not the right card? Is it VV Orinator or not just VV Orinator? Am I crazy? Hold up. Is it VV? Why is there an A in front of it? What? VV Orinator. Huh. Or Ornithir? Oh, there we go. There we go. I was about to say. Oh, it means the A is for, whatchamacallit? For, alchemy, right. Hey, was just wondering, I couldn't find the awesome Azula deck you made for me on the website. Just didn't know if maybe I did something wrong. No, Goku. All the decks are getting updated right now. Do not worry. They're getting updated by this Friday. There it is. Yeah, VV's Bubble Beam sitting around 6,600. Yep. So, I decided to make a VV list that was more intent on using VV and not going for ultimates. Not ultimates, what do you call that? Not going for infinites as much. So this is manual VV Storm. There's not much to go through here that isn't already in my VV manual video, but I do want to highlight some stuff before I move on. So if you guys want to, go to my VV video, check this one out. I think it was my first deck tech I did on the entire channel. Funny enough, I think it was when I launched the channel. But this list is a little different because we're going to be spamming Imperial Recruiter to get things that help double trigger VV, such as Harmonic Prodigy. And then this deck is chucked full of more copy spells like Heat Shimmer and Twin Flame in order to make copies of things like Harmonic Prodigy. Oh, no problem, Goku. No reason to apologize. This deck also wants to work on a Flash Axis with Valley Floodcaller. But of course, because this is still meant to be played at bracket 4 to 5, we of course kept in the infinites that are needed, but we're just not spamming it. And then, one of my favorite ones, which I gotta show you the Mirrorfolk art for this. It's so cool. I love this. And we're going back to this plane, which is super awesome. So Savor the Moment is one of my favorite cards in this list. It says, take an extra turn after this one, skip the untap step that turn. For 3 mana. A 3 mana extra turn. But Deathcat, you're not going to have any mana. VV's the mana. VV's going to be able to activate and make us tons of mana. So I absolutely love that card as an extra turn spell. And I especially love being able to fork it or reiterate it and getting multiple extra turns. That's fun. Reverberate, reiterate. And then we also are on the Final Fortune game plan in order to see if we can squeeze out a win because we are manual Storm. So be wary of that. We are 100% willing to Warrior's Oath or Final Fortune. Also, obviously, casting non-creature spells are great. Refilling our hands great. So I did include Winds of Change as well, just to shuffle the hand around. But in general, you can check out my guide already on the channel if you want to get more in depth on that. But it's basically that video, but more manual Storm. Our next deck today is for a Kalyudo. Caillou. It is Kratos, God of War. Let's read this submission together. Let me find their submission. Hello, Deathcat. I would like the most red aggro deck possible, but every time I build it, I feel like I don't include enough ways to survive, maybe some goad. So, this is a mono red Kratos God of War list with a little bit of goad splash. So we've got Agitator and in there. At the beginning of your end step, each player may put 2+1/+1 counters on a creature they control, and then you goad it. Trust me, it works. And all of our creatures are going to have a haste because of Kratos, but there's a little bit more we're going to be doing with Kratos. We're going to be giving Kratos Buster Sword Embercleave to swing in with double strike. And then it says, at the beginning of each player's end step, Kratos deals damage to the players equal to the number of creatures that player controls that didn't attack this turn. So we're going to be forcing violence at this table. And what do we like when there's violence? We like goading. So that's a big way to make this deck a lot better. But I personally see this deck at its best by forcing people to attack at threat of gunpoint instead of goad. And so I added Fiery Emancipation, Furnace of Wrath, City on Fire, and lots of ways to double and or triple the damage that gets dealt by any red source. Whisper, Deathcat, is there a general amount of mana dorks, mana rocks you want in a green-white deck. I'll be drawing a lot of cards. I want to be able to do multiple things per turn. Yes, absolutely. I have a entire series coming out this year once I've moved into my studio, so I'll be able to film it. But I have an entire series talking about exactly that. Most of the time, it's, let's say your commander's 3 CMC. You 100% want to run every single 1 mana dork possible within those colors. Yeah, for Cutzel, 100%. Run literally every single 1 mana CMC mana dork if you're running Cutzel. Because Cutzel draws you cards, it gets you into the game faster, and it's your #1 game plan, and it protects you. Run literally every 1 mana CMC green and white mana dork possible to get Cutzel out faster, because Cutzel will then allow you to draw more cards. That's just my take. I have always enjoyed my decks better like that. As for red, though, we are going to be running Skirk Prospector as a pseudo mana dork just to get Kratos out on turn 2 with haste, might I add, and double strike. Another axis of this deck that is really fun is I did in fact do a slight sub-theme of being able to get card draw out of our attack step, so that way we can have a devastating main phase 2. So let's talk about that. After you've gone in and dealt damage with Kratos, God of War, the end step of everyone's turn is when that damage is done from his second ability. So I want to attack in, make extra mana with our attackers, then cast Fiery Emancipation with the extra mana we make. Thank you so much, Whisper. Have a good night. So you need to be thinking about aggro decks on that main phase 1 and main phase 2 axis. Sometimes it's just better to think about main phase 2, especially with creatures like Cavern Hoarder Dragon or a Tally on the board, where you just want to leave the mana up for second main to do more things. It's just better practice. So I highly suggest that with this list. But everybody, that is our last list for today. We're going to have another stream tomorrow and more updates tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys want a custom deck of your own, please go to my Patreon or to yours and support my dream of doing this full time. I'm very thankful to all of you for watching today. Just God bless all of you. Very much appreciated for your time, and I cannot wait to show you the decks we have in store tomorrow. See you guys. Bye-bye. Have a good day, everybody. Stay safe. Love your neighbor as yourself. Bye-bye.